Yes, it is recording now. Yes, sir. Once you're done with ixx or izz value, next write it down
Ravikran,
iyy. Yes, sir.
Ravikran, you start from the beginning.
From the beginning. Okay. So let us go with the simple problem, that is finding out radius of gyration. Okay. So we are not taken directly with the design of compression member or calculation of design load. To start with, we have taken least radius of gyration finding. Okay. So let us start the first problem. Calculate the value of least radius of gyration for a compound column consisting of ISHB 250 at 536.6 Newton per meter with one cover plate that is 300 by 20 millimeter on each flange, top flange as well as bottom flange. So if you look at the picture, say I section is there. Again, at the top flange, one cover plate is there, 300 by 20 mm. Same way at the bottom flange also, one cover plate is there. So based on ISHB 250, open steel table and write down the properties of the section. What are the properties you need to note it down? One is area of cross section, that is in your steel table it is mentioned 69.71 centimeter square. We should write it down in terms of millimeter, that is 6971 millimeter square. Same way IZZ, it is mentioned as IXX. You should consider it as IZZ value, that is 7983.9 into 10 power 4 millimeter power 4. Okay, not in centimeter power 4. Same way IYY value, that is 2011.7 into 10 power 4 millimeter power 4. Same way thickness of the flange is 9.7 millimeter and thickness of the web is 8.8 millimeter. So initially what you need to do here is, you need here you have written only area for the I section from the steel table, but additional plates are there, right? So you need to calculate the overall area including the plate area. So for that, what we are doing is cross section of the I section plus 2 times the area of cross section of plates, because 2 plates are there. So I section area is 6971 plus 2 times 300 multiplied by the thickness 20 will give us the total area of 18971 millimeters square. So this is about total area for the built up. And next RZZ we need to calculate, right? For that, if you're in ZZ plane, we should consider moment of inertia for ZZ plane itself. That is IZZ is equal to IZZ of I section plus IZZ of 2 plates. We should consider this IZZ of I section. You can get it from the steel table directly, but these plates you need to add. So initially for I section, we have write it down as it is, that is 7983.9 into 10 power 4 plus 2 times for plates, it is BD cube by 12 plus area into H square. This H is nothing but from the neutral axis to the center of the plate, that is 20 mm divided by 2. Depth of the plate I section is 250 millimeter. Half of this is 125 plus half of the plate means 20 divided by 2. That is what we have written here. So breadth of the plate is 300 millimeter. Depth of the plate we considered 20. BD cube divided by 12 plus area is 300 into 20 in the ZZ plane we are thinking. Okay. Multiplied by H is 125 is half of the neutral axis, that is 250 by 2, and plus 10. 10 is half of the plate. So if you do this, we are going to get IZZ value as 298.56 into 10 power 6 millimeter per 4. So this is IZZ value. If you want to calculate least radius of gyration or radius of gyration, the formula is square root of I by A. We have considered ZZ plane, so let us use that value. IZZ is 298.56 into 10 power 6 divided by total area we got is 18971 mm square. If you do so, you will get 125.45 millimeter of radius of gyration in ZZ direction. Okay. Also, YY direction we should calculate. The same procedure for YY direction. So IYY is equal to IYY of I section plus 2 times IYY of plate. So IYY value directly you will get from the steel table plus 2 times the plate. Here we are looking in the Y direction, so breadth will become 20 and depth will become 300. BD cube divided by 12, and that AH square will not come into the picture because if you consider YY direction, the neutral axis lies exactly in the same plane for plate as well as I section. So that part will not come into the picture. So IYY will become 110.117 into 10 power 6 mm power 4. Same way, radius of gyration formula is square root of I by A. Whatever you got for YY direction, that value you should use here. And area is same what we found earlier, 18971. If you do so, we'll get 76.19 millimeter. So in YY direction, radius of gyration is 76.19 millimeter and ZZ direction 125.45 millimeter. As the question says, calculate the value of least radius of gyration. So least of these two is what? 76.19. So we can consider least radius of gyration for this is 76.19 millimeter. I hope you understood this. Let us move on to the second problem, that is an ISHB 450 at 855.43 Newton per meter is to be used as a short column carrying axial load, and calculate the compressive strength assuming Fe 410 steel with Fy 250 Newton per mm square. For the present moment, let us consider only part A, that is Fe 410 steel with Fy 250 Newton per mm square. So once you get this value, that is ISHB 450 at 855.43 Newton per meter, open the steel table and find this ISHB 450. All of you open and note down the sections. All of you open ISHB 450. So if you open ISHB 450, that is also coming in table 4. For me, it is showing in page number 14. Page number 14.
Page number 14. Which author?
Sir, mine is different. Agor, I guess.
Agor. Oh, that is the reason you see the difference. So you open page number 4 of KLV Ramu. If you are referring KLV Ramu, open page number 4. Okay. Again, go to the next first column.
First
okay,
column.
Go down.
Yes.
You see the last but one item. You have two types of ISHB 450.
Yes.
So one is ISHB 450 855.4 Newton per meter and the other is 907.4 Newton meter. So you need to refer the first one, that is 855.4 Newton per meter. That is the section given in the problem, is it not?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So in that
last but one section from the bottom you must refer.
So in this, what are the things you need to write it down? The depth of the section, as it is ISHB 450. The depth of the section is given as 450. Sometimes it is also denoted as H, or in your steel table it is mentioned as H, small letter H. And breadth of the flange is 250 millimeter. Thickness of the flange is 13.7 millimeter. Thickness of the web is 9.8 millimeter. And R1 is 15 millimeter. What is this R1? R1 is not radius of gyration here. Instead, radius of root. If you look at the figure, see here at the bottom, R1 is mentioned here with small arrow mark. This curve is given as radius of root. R1 is 15 millimeter. Okay. So now For column design compressive strength PD is equal to effective area into design compressive stress. So if you open page number 34 of IS 800, all of you open page number 34 of IS 800, class 7.1.2. Open. This formula is available in the same page, page number 34. So in that, how to calculate for the case A what we have considered for Fe 410 steel. First, we should consider what type of section it is, whether it is a plastic section or yes, in IS 800 2007, if you open page number 18, there is a table given, that is table 2, limiting width to thickness ratio. So if you open the table, neutral axis at mid depth, first, second, third, fifth row. If you open fifth row, it is given for the ratio for different sections, that is class 1 is plastic, class 2 is compact, and class 3 is semi-compact. So first one should consider breadth to thickness ratio, breadth to thickness of flange. For that, how to consider breadth? Breadth we have written here, it is 125. See, look at the figure. In this figure, flange width is 250, it is given. We should consider half of the breadth, that is 125 millimeter, and thickness of the flange is 13.7 millimeter. If you do so, we will get 9.12 millimeter, 9.12, which is less than 9.4 epsilon. See, what is 9.4 epsilon again? You just open that table 2 and observe table 2, first column, roll section, class 1, it is given as 9.4 epsilon. So this 9.12 is coming less than 9.4 epsilon. What is epsilon value? It is nothing but square root of yield 250 divided by yield strength. As we have considered yield strength of 250, we are going to get epsilon value as 1. So from this, we will get the value 9.12, which is less than 9.4. Same way, depth to thickness of web ratio we need to find. So what is the depth? The effective depth should be, the overall depth is given as 450 millimeter. In that, 2 times thickness of flange plus root radius we should deduct. So it is clearly mentioned here, D is equal to H minus 2 times thickness of flange plus R1. So total depth is 450 minus 2 times 13.7, that is thickness of flange, plus R1, root radius is 15. If you do so, we'll get 392.6 millimeter. So 392.6 divided by thickness of web is given as 9.8, which will give us 40.06. So for that, you should consider 84 epsilon. Epsilon value is 1. We will get 40.06 is less than 84. So the section is plastic, that comes under class 1. So with this, what we are going to get, the whole section is effective. Just open page number 46, class 7.3.2 from IS 800. So with this, effective area is 1114 millimeters square. So the design compressive strength PD is equal to effective area multiplied by FCD. Effective area we just calculated, that is 1114 mm square, multiplied by FCD is yield strength to factor of safety. So yield strength is 250 safety factor we consider 1.1. In terms of kilonewton, if you want to keep the load, means 1 divided by 1000. So design compressive strength you got 2531.8 kilonewton. Okay, same way case B will explain you later. I hope you understood how to calculate the design compressive strength. That is nothing but area into, that is effective area into compressive stress. How to calculate effective area? Before that, before calculating effective area, you should know what type of section it is, whether it is a plastic section or compact section or semi-compact section, and which category it belongs to. So how to calculate that? That will be calculated based on table 2 of IS 800. Yes, let us move on to the next problem. It is calculate the design compressive load for a stanchion. Stanchion is also another name called for a column. ISHB 350 at 710.2 Newton per meter, which is having 3.5 meter length. The column is restrained in direction and position at both the ends. See, the column end condition is given in this problem. Previously, it was not given. So ISHB 350, what type of section used is given, and what is the length of the column is given, and the end condition is given. Also, grade of the steel is given. So based on this, first, when you look at the section, you should open the steel table and write down the properties. Okay. And also, because here end condition is given, you need to open table 11 of page 45 from the steel IS 800. Just open, will give you 1 minute time to open and check this. Open table 11. Condition is given as column ends are fixed at both the ends. Restrained in direction and position. Both way it is restrained means should be considered as fixed condition. So for the fixed condition for the both side, if you open table 11, that is page number 45, the last condition, restrained for all four condition, it is mentioned restrained. You will get effective length as 0.65 L. That is nothing but KL. K is a constant, L is a value given in the question. So for constant, you should consider 0.65 and L is given as 3.5 meter. This will become 2.275 meter of effective length for the column. The same way, from the section ISHB 350 at 710.2 Newton per meter, what are the properties we need to write it down? What is the depth of the section, that is 350 millimeter, and what is the area, 9221 mm square, breadth of the flange 250 millimeter, thickness of the flange 11.6 millimeter, thickness of the web 10.1 millimeter. Just open the steel table and observe these values. If you do not open the steel table or code book at this moment, it will be very difficult to understand or open whenever you are alone. You just open and check now itself and cross check these IZZ values, IYY values, radius gyration in terms of Z direction and Y direction. I hope you all got these values from the steel table. And next, to determine buckling class, open page 44 of table 10 from IS 800. You can see in the left side cross section of different elements, that is I section, circular section, or angle. Same way in the right column, limits, buckling about buckling about axis and buckling class. So all these given in that table, table number 10. In that we are using I section, that is first column itself you need to see. In the first column, there are two things you need to observe. H divided by BF greater than 1.2. Same way thickness of flange less than or equal to 40 millimeter. And the next row, H by BF is less than or equal to 1.2 and thickness of flange is 100 millimeter, less than or equal to 100 millimeter. Let us check in which column or which row it belongs to. Height is given as 350 millimeter. Breadth of the flange is given as 250 millimeter. If you do this, we'll get 1.4. So 1.4 is greater than 1.2, which is provided, right? H by BF is greater than 1.2. That means to say first row itself, it is coming. Same way, thickness of flange is 11.6 millimeter. And here what they are telling, thickness of flange is less than or equal to 40 millimeter means can go with the first thing. So if you further move on to the buckling about axis, it is showing ZZ and YY axis. So if you move on to ZZ direction, buckling class you will get A. If you move on to YY axis, buckling class will be B. Okay, for this moment you note down this and move on. To calculate the effective area, in the previous step or previous problem, what we did to calculate effective area, we opened table 2 to check whether it is a plastic section or compact or semi-compact. Same way here also we should check to get the effective area. Open table 2. Okay. So in table 2, epsilon value is 250 divided by Fy. Under the root, you will get 1. And how to calculate D? D is equal to effective height, that is nothing but total height minus 2 times thickness of flange to the root thickness. Flange plus root thickness. If you do, we are going to get effective depth as 306.6 millimeter. If you want to see this, I'll go back to the picture and show you again. See, if it is I section means this is the flange and this is the root. You should deduct flange thickness and root radius, then you will get this effective depth D. Okay. Yes, effective depth D is 306.6 millimeter. Same way, what is the breadth to thickness of the flange ratio? Breadth, we should consider half of the breadth of the flange, that is 250 by 2. So the thickness of flange is 11.6 millimeter, will give us 10.78. So 10.78 is less than 15.7 epsilon because epsilon value is 1. First one, that is class 1, is 9.4 epsilon. 9.4 multiplied by 1 will give us 9.4 itself. So we should move on to the next class, that is class 2, 10.5 epsilon. In that, again, it is not coming to the picture because 10.78 is greater than 10.5. So move on to the third class, 15.7 epsilon. So 10.78 is less than 15.7. So we can consider this as class 3, that is semi-compact. Same way, depth to thickness of the web ratio. Effective depth is 306.6, we just calculated. And next thickness of web is 10.1 millimeter is given, which will give us 30.36. In the same line, what is the value given for semi-compact? 42 epsilon, right? So 30.36 is less than 42 epsilon. So this section is semi-compact. The entire area of cross section is effective. So what is the area we got? 9221 mm square from the, if you just open page number 46 of class 7.3.2, you will better understand. So same way, let us move on further. To calculate design compressive strength FCD, we have two routes. Just open page number 34 of IS 800. Page number 34 of IS 800. Section 7, design of compression member. It is given, page number 34. Class 7.1, design strength. So 7.1.2, it is given P is less than PD. What is PD? PD is design compressive strength. If you open steel table only, you will understand. Otherwise, it will be like just reading out something. Just open the steel table and follow what I am telling you, or just observe what is provided in the steel table. The procedure directly it is given clearly. You need not to remember these formulas. Whatever the formula we have mentioned here, number 1, 2, 3, all these values or formulas are present in the steel table. So FCD is equal to Fy divided by gamma m naught. All the formula or all the values are present in the steel table. You can go with these formulas to find out the design compressive strength, or FCD value can also be calculated using buckling class. That is, 1 second. Okay, we'll go from here itself. See, PD is equal to area into FCD. Area you can find out from the steel table. And how to find out the FCD? FCD is equal to this first column, first row. It is mentioned equation number 1. In this equation, what is unknown thing? X is unknown thing. How to calculate that value? That will be calculated using equation 2. Again, in this, phi is the unknown, phi and lambda is the unknown thing. How to calculate phi? Using equation 3. In this equation 3 also, lambda is unknown thing, and also alpha is unknown thing. How to calculate alpha? Alpha is nothing but buckling class, which is provided in table number 7 of page 35. So alpha will be 0.21 for buckling class A and 0.34 for buckling class B. Same way, and next is FCD values are calculated for both class A and class B based on this also, that is lambda is equal to square root of Fy by FCC. Is FCC again calculated using pi square E by KL by R. What is KL by R? Slenderness ratio. R is radius of gyration. K is constant, depends on end condition. Length is actual length of the column. So if you find out that design strength of the column will be effective area multiplied by FCD. Okay. Now in the previous step or previous problem, we have solved this FCD yield strength to factor of safety. Yield strength here in this problem it is given as 410, and effective area we calculated 10412.3. So multiplied by 1 divided by 1000 will give us in terms of kilonewton. Design load is equal to 3881 kilonewton. So I think if you have any doubt in this problem, you just ask me, or you just go through the notes once. I will send you notes today.